Sonicstate here at NAMM 2020, and we're at the Radial booth with Jay. And there's a bunch of new products you want to show us?
Absolutely.
Let's get stuck in. Where are we going to start?
Sure, we'll start over on the far side here. So this is the PZ Pro. So this is a acoustic preamp for, it's kind of the big brother of all of our acoustic preamps. So this is for the guy that's either got two instruments on stage that they want to have level matched and tone matched for quick changes, or for somebody who's using two different sources on a single acoustic guitar. So maybe a magnetic and a piezo, or maybe a magnetic and a 48-volt phantom power mic, because this provides phantom power as a mic pre. They can blend those two sources together to a single output. It's got a pre-EQ direct box out, a post-EQ direct box out, 15 dB of clean boost, an effects loop on and off, so kind of the master station for the acoustic guitar player on stage.
It's nice to see the piezo kind of. Are those kind of like so you can just fine tune your piezo?
It's a push-in switch, so it's a booster, so it corrects the impedance and gives that boost for a piezo element to make sure it's going to be up and level and sounding good.
Neat. Okay, cool. Yeah. So next.
Next is the Hotshot 48V. So this is for on-stage vocalists that wants to route their microphone somewhere else with a quick step of the switch. So a lot of guys on in-ear monitors, they want to be able to talk to the other members of the band or to the monitor engineer. They don't want the audience to hear what they're saying. They can hit the foot switch, route it to the other guy, lift the foot switch, it's back to the front of house.
And is that like a kind of non-latching then?
It can be non-latching. It can also be set to be latching. So cool. You can do either or.
Yep.
And it provides 48 phantom power to the mic, so you can use it with condensers. And because it is the power supply itself, it's completely silent switching, no clicks and pops.
Oh yeah, neat.
Yeah.
Now this is the one I'm looking forward to.
This is kind of the big news for the show. So this is the HDI, our new flagship direct box for studio and for live, really. But Radial's always been known to have DI boxes that are very clean. They don't color the sound. We wanted to do something a little bit different and give people a little bit of flavor, so to speak. So this one has a custom wound Jensen transformer inside that's designed to be saturated. So this can be as clean as you want it to be, but as you turn up that color knob and play around with the level a little bit, you can break up that transformer to get anything from a little warmth to over-the-top distortion, like the Rage Against the Machine bass tones possible out of this thing. And then the presence control actually acts as a bit of a wet-dry. So once you get a lot of grit on your sound, you might want to bring up a bit more of that dry signal underneath, get some nice note definition from your guitar or bass.
I like the kind of notched pots.
Yeah, all the pots are notched, so you can
feel good.
Yeah, so once you figure out your sound, you can make sure you get it back. Yeah, but everything, nice chunky power supply switch, a high Z, low Z input impedance, so like a high and low on a Fender amp or something like that. It's got an opto compressor with two different ratios built in.
Oh, neat.
Kind of tame those peaks a little bit with a cool vintagey opto comp, high pass filter. And then around on the back side, it's got a line level output, so you don't need to go into a mic pre. It's got a mic level output with the Radial JDI Jensen transformer on it. So it's actually got two Jensens inside. You've got a processed output, so if you want to use all that great circuitry and then go to your amp, you can do that as well as a through on the front. And then we've added a synth input.
Synth input?
All the modular guys.
Hey, now our audience are going to get excited.
There we go, yeah. So it sounds great with modular synths. Especially you can add a little bit more character to them. So given just that little mini jack synth input, you can do that as well. Comes with the rack kit. You can rack up two of them side by side, and I think that nice 1/4 inch thick milled aluminum faceplate looks pretty cool. So pretty happy about this. Can't wait for everybody to hear it.
Great. Yeah. And then moving on?
The BT Pro V2. So this is an update of our BT Pro, which is a Bluetooth direct box. Just a few updates that have occurred. New chassis design allows for a much better range. So this thing's now good to 100 feet. It now can be 48-volt phantom powered. So if you want to go straight into a mic input, you don't need to have an external power supply. But we have a USB-C connection on there, so if you want to go straight into a line level device, you can do that as well. Just need to have that external power. Updated to Bluetooth version 4, much better sound quality. Can also have unique names will be given to each box from the factory, so people can use multiples in the same units or same building. So we basically kind of addressed every issue people ever had with their original Bluetooth Pro, and just with a nice clean update for 2020.
Cool. And the final one here.
It's the USB mobile. So the people that want to connect their phones and tablets directly to a mixing board, and they don't want to rely on wireless with Bluetooth, they can do so with the USB Pro. So USB-A style connection on it, plug in their standard cable for any Apple or Android device, and then on the back side you've got XLR outputs to the mixing board. Provides that fast charge for your mobile device as well, so it does require the external power supply.
Okay.
But the output control can take it from mic level to line level, so you can go right into a mixing board or into a set of powered speakers with your mobile device.
Okay, well, we're going to move over just to look at something else.
We're going to get pricing.
I was going to ask about prices.
Pricing.
So I was going to say, before we move, let's go over prices and availability of these guys.
All right. So PZ Pro street price in the US is $499. This one's going to be shipping late March. Hotshot 48V street price in the States is $249, and this one's shipping in the next couple weeks. Okay. It's in production right now back in Vancouver at our factory. The HDI street price of $799.99. And this one it will be shipping end of February, early March. BT Pro V2, $259.99 street price. That one will be ready to go in March sometime. And USB Mobile is probably the furthest one out on the list. Will probably be shipping early April, and that one's $299.
Okay, great. So a couple of years ago, when you launched the Key Largo, I know that the Sonicstate audience were quite interested in that, having stupendous amounts of keyboards and stuff. But you've got something else that you've released fairly recently. Can we go and have a look at that then?
For sure.
So here's the Key Largo. So just give a little kind of rundown on the Key Largo first, just a reminder.
So the Key Largo is kind of the great keyboard command center. So it's your mixing board for keyboards. So 3 mono or stereo inputs. A 4th input's USB, so that's for connecting your soft synths or main stage or whatever you're using. And then each one has their own level control, so they can all be mixed together to a pair of XLR transformer isolated outputs. There's also TRS monitor outputs. There's an effects send, so you can have effects loop connected to it. Each channel has its own effects send, and then there's a global effects return. Main and monitors both have their own volume control. See the USB on there. We also have a MIDI I/O via USB, so you can send MIDI to or from a computer through this device. A sustain pedal built in, just a momentary switch to step on if you need some sustain, and then effects loop on and off. So it's been kind of a great purpose-built keyboard mixer. Super high headroom, low noise kind of command center. So rather than using a crappy little mixer for your keyboards, you've got a nice purpose-built rig to go through.
But now it's grown a sibling, a big brother.
It has grown a big brother. So the KL8 started shipping earlier in 2019. So this is a rack mount unit, of course. It adds a 4th input, so you can now have 4 mono or stereo keys hooked up to it. And then there's also 2 USB inputs for complete redundancy. So some people like to have a backup main stage rig. Other people are just running really processor heavy soft synths, and they want to have 2 different computers with 2 different soft synths loaded. They can switch back and forth between these 2, either on the front panel or with a foot switch. Retains the MIDI I/O. Now main and monitor outputs are both transformer isolated XLR instead of just having one. You can has a locking XLR power supply, so still external supply, but a bit more robust for the touring crowd. And then probably most importantly for anybody that's got a lot of keyboards, you can link these together and create a much bigger rig. So in my studio we have 18 channels of keys feeding 3 KL8s. We share some channels with mono keyboards. We have one unit that's set up all mono, so we can split them, but we have those 3 KL8s linked together for a nice big keyboard rig. Everything goes to 2 channels on the Apollo, so we have every keyboard set up, level matched, and ready to record at all times.
Nice, and in typical Radial form, a fair bit of heft to this.
Absolutely.
Nice,
Yeah,
like solid quality.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So did we get prices then on these guys?
Off the top of my head, and all prices subject to whatever's actually listed on dealer websites, but I believe this one's $349.99 and this one's $599.99.
Excellent. Jake, thank you so much for showing us this.
problem.
Excellent.
All right.